Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final episode of the title show. It's me, Chris Brack, and I've been Gav off really because he's too busy enjoying himself after the watch-alongs. I've got Kev back. Kev, how you doing? I feel like I've not spoken to you since yesterday.
I haven't spoken. Yeah, it feels like forever, mate. But yeah, it's only been 24 hours. Oh, good. All good. First day of my Christmas holidays, so I'm kind of enjoying it now.
Shut up.
Chill back, relax, just kicking. It's not a lot to do, not a lot going on.
I got a line today. Didn't have to log on to like 7:30. Woohoo!
You mean there's 2 half-7s in a day?
That is, mate. Yeah,
I didn't know about that. Didn't know about that this week.
Jesus, right? Yeah, that's been my week.
Good.
So we're going to. This is going to be fun. This because we're basically going to talk about how Liverpool were already champions with what was it, 6-7 games to go. And basically, we were pissed for most of it. So, the players were. We'll come to our first game in a minute, but we'll have a bit of a chat around what this is still full on COVID time. No fans to the ground, piped in fan noise, driving the screens. Sky had the screens, and the joke was, and it still happened, Man City didn't have enough fans to fill the screens, which I still found hilarious. That's one of the funniest things I ever saw. You can't find people to sit at the screen. Yeah, it was all a bit odd. So, but look, we've won the league, because City had got beat by Chelsea, and we got City next. So, this game we thought was going to be the big game that would define the league. Didn't. Liverpool were given a guard followed by City. Well, most of City. Brown still there drinking his coffee, looking like an arrogant bellend that he is. But, that's his MO. That's how he wants to be. And I'll be honest, mate, Liverpool, I think, was still pissed. There's still that video where Trent looks like he's pissed on the pitch.
This is one of those games. I mean, this is what? The 2nd of July, 2020. It's like, this is normally when tournament football happens. It's like the world was so upside down. The league were still trying to figure out how are we going to put on a product that people will want to watch, even though the winner has been decided. The whole battle of that season really was who's going to finish 4th and who's going down. The title, it's almost unheard of. The title is done. 7 games to go. It's ridiculous. But we turn up to play Man City at the Etihad. As I say, guard of honor, petulance from Bernardo Silva. The rest of them show class. As you'd expect from some of the professional players that they have there. But, we turn up and from the off. I wouldn't say from the off. It was a 50-50 game.
We had the post up until,
yeah, exactly. It was one of those games. We were in it, and then it was like the players almost like, so, it was almost like they flicked the switch. We don't really care. We're done.
Yeah,
and this wasn't a case of down in tools. It was like this side had been going for a season and 2/3 at this stage, flat out, full on, all the way to the last game of the season the year before, Champions League final winner, and then you're rolling into this season with what it was. It was mental all the way through it, and you're in July and you're still playing this season. So when will it end?
I mean, poor Joe Gomez had an absolute nightmare. I mean, that's the first half. They took him off. I mean, Sterling gave him nightmares. He gives the penalty away. The penalty gives away. You had the Gary Neville ooze, so it's probably not as big as he makes it out to be. But he just holds on to it. He holds on still too long. It's a penalty.
It was a dive.
It's one of those where if he lets go a couple of seconds earlier, you don't get it.
Mate, his arm was holding him up where Sterling wanted to get to the ground that fast.
He fell for it. He fell for it.
Yeah.
Pingy B, good pen, buried it bottom corner. And then a few minutes later, Sterling makes it 2. And you kind of went, I know this is game over, this. And it just got...
Yeah.
The only probably mild concern was half-time was 3-0 and you're going, listen, I know it doesn't matter, but don't really want to get embarrassed by it. I mean, look, we throw Chamberlain on beginning of the second half. Gomez just gets hooked straight away, and they have a bit more of a go. Chamberlain's very unlucky with the own goal. I think the shot's gone miles wide and it hits him, but you kind of went out of the game going, I think City were happy because obviously they give a little bit of a blooded nose.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool were that arsed. You never want to lose to City, but I think with us all a bit of celebration then. But then we move on. Next home game, because one thing Liverpool were trying to do is we're trying to go perfect at home. We're trying to get 19 wins at home, which I can't remember who's ever done it before. So it was a bit of that was all we were looking for. Liverpool. But what can you do now? How many points can we get? Can we get to a certain point, or can we go perfect at home? They're all little things. I mean, they're nice. They're nice records to break, but ultimately the big one's done. You haven't got Champions League to worry about, so you're like, just see how it goes. This is also the opportunity where you're giving minutes to Curtis Jones, your Nico Williams, guys who need a couple of appearances just to get the winners' medals and to give a few lads a bit of experience. I do feel this is a real hard period for Minamino. Comes in January, as a country goes into lockdown, you don't really know your teammates. You're locked in your apartment, and you go and play empty stadium football. When you look back, Paul Minamino, he gets a winners' medal. And he does contribute in that season, but that's a tough start to any club. I mean, obviously for the women's team, we had a lady who played for us, and I always call her the ghost signing, which was we signed her that summer. We went into lockdown, we went into COVID, but the full season behind closed doors, and she had a 1 year contract. She went, so no fan actually ever saw her play. I felt sorry for
I hated everything. I hated everything about the football that we were watching. It was literally almost like watching. You ever watch under 23 games when there's nobody there?
Yeah.
That's what this was. That's what this was. The fake noise that was pumped into the grounds made it worse. If I wanted to watch that, I'd just turn PlayStation on or turn the Xbox on and just watch FIFA. That's what the generic sound was like. And I watched back the highlights of the games today that we were going to be covering, and that sound went through me like broken glass on rusty nails. It was horrible, and it was.
Let me ask you,
it wasn't the case we were going through the motions.
I mean, I agree with that. Was it better than nothing? I mean, listen, it was some football's better than no football, but it wasn't. It just wasn't the same. It was odd, wasn't it?
Yeah, I preferred there was an option at one stage where you could just listen to the commentary, listen to the players, and have no sound. No sound like fake noise. I almost preferred that because I was listening to what the players were saying.
Yeah, I listened to
you could hear Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, I listened to about the crowd noise. I listened to about the crowd noise.
It was much better.
It was just a bit more interesting. Thor saying, for me, it's still a sour taste that they tried to dress up their self-interest as safety concerns. Karen Brady was embarrassing. Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of certain clubs, wanted it stopping.
The self-interest was there, wasn't it? The self-interest was there. A lot of the clubs that were in
trouble,
they were in fear of relegation, really. And there were certain clubs that were in European places when the lockdown was announced, and they thought, well, the season is 2/3 finished. It's kind of like boxing. If you get knocked down after the fourth round or before the fourth round, it's a technical draw kind of thing. It didn't,
Yeah.
It was weird. If you get knocked down in the first round and it's deemed a foul, like an elbow or something, it's a no contest. They almost thought the league would be frozen and the points where they were would be locked in, and they'd have qualified for Europe or they'd have avoided relegation or whatever it was. It was a nonsense, really. But you got to remember at the time as well, we were all locked in our houses more or less. So the only thing that we had to look forward to was there was a game on. And it didn't matter who was playing in the end because we watched every game that was going. We watched so much football.
What else you
and every night then we were coming on chatting about it in the chat or listening to the comments or listening to whoever was on the pod that night. And you had nothing else to do with your time. It was just...
Yeah.
To say, I mean, Ash asked there if it was better than nothing.
Probably
it was better than nothing, but at the same time, because there was nothing on it,
there was jeopardy.
There was no jeopardy with it. It was like we were watching the games. We'd already known that we'd achieved what we wanted to achieve this season. It was just watching stuff for the sake of watching it. I mean, this game we played against Villa. Villa were in fear. They could have gone down. They were in real trouble.
let's be honest. If the goal line technology worked, they would have been. This was the season where they had a goal not given, and they found later the technology had broken, and it's never done it since. Yeah. But as Darosta says, West Ham and Everton actually were better without fans. Scouser Pete has a question for you, Kev. So you don't like it when they fake it, Kev? Is that what it is?
Nah, you got to be real. You got to be real with these things. You can spot it a mile.
I know. But listen, sidewise, we kept the side fairly consistent. We were starting to, give the likes of Origi got a start here instead of Firmino. Keita was getting minutes here and there. Chamberlain was starting a bit more, so we were giving players minutes. Partly also because they had such a long break when we were in the whole country's in lockdown. I do think it's also managing fitnesses of people going we can't make them go back to back because they haven't done proper training now, and it's trying to keep players ticking over. I can't remember much about the Mane goal. Can you remember it? I can remember the Jones goal, but I can remember bits of the Mane goal.
The Mane one, it was it might have been a deflection off the keeper. Came back to Mane, and he hit it, and he hit the bottom of the crossbar and went in. But Pepe Reina was in goal, and I think it might have been the first time he'd been back at Anfield since he left. He was on loan at Villa at the time he was playing. But
wasn't he backup? Whoever he was, he was number 2, wasn't he? So
Villa had a goal. They were actually decent on the day, and
it's a tight game.
Yeah, as Naby's down as getting the assist for Sadio. I think it was a Naby shot that the ball came out to the keeper. It might have been a Naby shot, but I remember Sadio caught it sweet. He almost caught it too well, and when it hit the bottom of the crossbar and went in, it just looked great. And 1-0, you think, that's game, set, match. We were still in that run that if we got a lead, we weren't losing. At worst, they might get us back to a draw, but we weren't losing from there. And the second goal came late on. It was actually Curtis Jones. It was Mo knocked it back to it. It was a cross came in from Robertson's side, and Mo knocked it back. But Curtis Jones pulled from the 6-yard line. He read the flight of the ball, read what Mo was trying to do, pulled back, and just slapped it in. And
for Curtis Jones, again,
it was good for him.
Good for him. First goal, contributing to the tight winning season. But imagine that, your first goal from the Kop to make it 2-0. Fucking no one there, apart from Song 2, which I was sick of hearing Song 2, got to be honest. Could they have picked a better song? Do you know what I mean? For the goal. Every time there was a goal, Song 2 was played by Blur. That was our goal. Every club had their own song, didn't they, for their goals? It's weird. But yeah, think for the chat. What song should we have had instead of Song 2? If you ask about your new gigs, mate, they're all liking the new glasses.
Yeah, new bins. Still got to get used to them because they're very focals. So it's, but yeah, it's weird. I've always had trouble. I've always wore glasses. I was always supposed to wear glasses, and this is the first time. I'm 51 years of age, and this was the first time that I went for an eye test, and my left eye's actually got better. My right eye is still goose. I'm proper Magoo with my right eye, but my left eye has actually got better. So, but yeah, no, new pair today. So
yeah, oh no, I'm contacts all the way. I can't be doing with glasses. It do me head. They absolutely do me head. Just get the ones I've got, mate. You just sleep in them. They're great. You can take about once a month and then get a point new setting. Brilliant. Makes life much easier.
Metallica, whom the bell tolls. Yeah, that would have done. Yeah. That would have done for me.
Give me 5. There we go.
I read that as give me 5 star.
Cool. So then we moved on to Brighton. I would argue it's probably one of our best performances in the lockdown period. Because some of the other games are a bit of a drag. You just get through. But I thought away to Brighton, we did pretty well. We give Nico Williams his first start for Liverpool. And, to make it more difficult for the lad, we stick him away from home at left back when he's a right back. Just to really, wake him up a little bit. And listen, Liverpool got off to a great start. Naby puts a cross in, crosser. Mo just slots it bottom corner. That's about 6 minutes. You're thinking, okay, good start. Because Brighton away was still tough. Not as tough as it is now, but it was still pretty tough.
As it is now, no.
No, and then
that first goal.
Yeah.
That first goal, Brighton were trying to play out from the back, play out through the keeper. And Naby nicked it back, didn't he?
Yeah, lays it across the Mo. It's a nice finish.
Yeah. But it was the press that was brilliant. And it was the front three stayed on their men, and Naby came in from midfield. He was playing on the left side. He came in from midfield. So that means there was 4 of our players and 3 of their defenders, and our other 2 midfielders had compressed the space behind them. So it was really well organized, really well done. It was a typical Liverpool counter-pressing goal that we didn't see that much of because sides figured out, we're not going to play out from the back against this lot. And Brighton, under Potter, we're going to stick to our philosophy and blah, 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 blah. And it was just a lovely start to it. And it was one of those games, like you said, when Mo scored that, it's like, they're on it here. They want to put a marker down. They just want to get those performances for the last few weeks out of their system and show, we are champions.
Yeah, I thought is that the game where Lamptey gave Nico Williams a tough guy? It was, Lamptey was playing wing back the other side, and he played really well. This Lamptey, before he started getting all these hamstring injuries, which I think hampered him a lot. The second goal's a peach. Probably the frustration with Henderson, he didn't do this more often, and he had this in his locker. Ball's won at centre midfield. It's played out to Mo. Mo plays back. The ball rolls back to Henderson at the top of the D, and he just whips it, across his body. Keeping it. It's a lovely finish. A nice goal, and that was always the thing with Henderson. You're like, he probably should have done that more.
Well, he started off his career as 10, didn't he? So, and he just went further and further back. He always had that, and you could tell from the way he crossed the ball. That first time Henderson crossed to the back stick, he had that in his pocket all the time. He actually hits the ball really well, and that one, the ball almost, because Mo was trying to get it onto his left foot, and it just almost bounced off of him. But it just rolled sweetly for Henderson, and he just whipped it straight across the keeper. The keeper had no chance. It was just an inch perfect shot, and 2-0 after 8 minutes, and you're like, lovely. Okay. Have this.
No, Brighton going to half-time 2-1. They got a goal right on half-time. If we're honest, 2-1 was fair. It was fair because after we got a 2-0 lead, we under the cosh quite a bit. And the actual goal, it's a deep cross, and look at the goal back. I think Alisson's got to come out and try and claim it. Dominates every slips, and it falls to Trossard, and he absolutely rifles it just under the bar. It's a great finish. You sort of go, all right, 2-1. This will be interesting. Poor Nico Williams.
He'd had a miss earlier in the half. Trossard had a miss earlier in the half, and I think Pascal Gross had a miss as well. That I don't know if it was a miss or it was a save. It might have been a save, but that one with their goal, Robertson comes out to try to press the ball, and he misses it completely. He mistimes it, and that left the space open on his side, and it was a good finish. Alisson was coming out to try to smother it, but it was just a really good finish, and you could tell at the time because Trossard, everyone was looking at him thinking, "Oh, okay, he's a bit decent. He's not, he looks an interesting player," and probably games like this helped get his move on to Arsenal, and he was still a thorn in our side the following season. So he was a good player. But
good player.
That was a Brighton side as well. You had Lamptey, you had Webster, Dunk, Dan Burn was still there, Davy Proper, Alexis McAllister was there, Neil Mopey up front. They were a decent side, and it was always one of those games that they'll play football, they'll have a go, but they'll always give you chances.
Yeah, Paul Nico Williams, he's whipped off at half time. It's a pretty tough debut. We put Robertson on at left back and just go, right, let's make this a bit more assured because it's still a pretty tricky game. Sort of the hour mark, we're bringing Fabinho on, bringing Mane on, so the experience is coming on. And the third goal, which seals the game, which is 15 minutes to go, it's Mo Salah, and everyone goes, well, that's normal. It's not a typical Mo Salah goal. It's a Robertson corner, and Mo Salah running at the near post to flick it on with his head. It's just like
it was a really good
very
finish,
good. But if you describe how Mo Salah scores, you can running at the near post to flick it to head it in near post. That's not his finish. Mm-hmm. That's not what you would.
He ran from the penalty spot to virtually the edge of the 6-yard box, and the angle that he got that header back at was extreme. Like that wasn't like he was in line with the near post or anything. He was a good probably 2 yards further on from the near post. That was a brilliant header, really. But all he had to do was get his head on it and get it anywhere near on target because the pace was on the cross. That was definitely pre-worked. They definitely worked on that or talked about it. Kind of worked on it, but they definitely talked about it.
Yeah, you can tell by the celebration. It seems it was almost like something they'd spotted. It was spotted or worked on because they were pretty chuffed with themselves. You can tell when by certain celebrations, it's like even something they've spotted at half time. I think the year we finished second. The Wijnaldum goal away to Cardiff, they said they spotted something in the build-up. They said, actually, Joe, if you stand still in this point in a corner, you'll get a free hit. And it worked out first corner. So sometimes it's what you want, isn't it? And then so we're going to Burnley. Burnley are in dire straits, Liverpool give Nick Williams another start. This time we're nice. We'll let him play right back, which is good of us. Jones gets a start, with Fabinho and Wijnaldum. So 2 youngsters, strong Burnley side. And this is the game where, unfortunately, Kev, our 100% record at home goes. We get a draw. I mean, the goal we score.
I don't remember anything about this game whatsoever.
You don't remember this? So this, genuine. I would highly advise you to watch it. So,
shit!
Fabinho gets the ball, sort of left hand side of the penalty, and he whips it to the back post. He whips the back post to Robertson, who heads it across goal. It's a hell of a header. Why Robertson's at right back? I can't remember. I'm assuming it must have been a corner breakdown for some reason.
Must have been a corner or something from the other side.
It's an unreal header. It's like, wow, that's a brilliant header. And then I'll be honest, the rest of the second half was a bit of the Nick Pope show. Because Nick Pope makes 3 really good saves in that first half. And he does it again in the second half. And Nick Pope was the reason it was staying 1-0 for ages. Which, look, Nick Pope's a very good goalkeeper. That's why he ended up getting his
He's a good shot stopper. Shot stopper. Yeah.
And if you play deep, that's kind of what you want. He's the sort of keeper you need for that.
That was a horrible Burnley side as well. Looking at that lineup there, that was just horrible. It was proper Burnley. Phil Barsley, Kevin Long, James Tarkowski, Charlie Taylor, Eric Peters, Ashley Westwood, Josh Brownhill. Dwight McNeil, I think, is a good player. But then you had Chris Wood and Jay Rodriguez up front, and that is like 2 lumps. But
to be fair, their equaliser is very good. It's a deep cross. Tarkowski heads it back. It goes to the edge of the area, and Rodriguez hits it on the volley.
Yeah.
Bullets in bottom corner. It's a really, really good goal. You're like, oh, okay. The controversy, both on the pitch and off the pitch, was about a minute ago, Robertson runs into the area. He's clearly took out. Doesn't get the ball. It's a penalty. We're all going, it's a penalty. Ref doesn't give it. I think VAR looks at it, and they're all, no, it's fine. And they show the replays, they're all going, yeah, that's just a straight forward penalty, not given. And the controversy was because you can hear what they're saying. It was right at full time. You can hear Robertson walk over to the ref saying, "So how have you missed that?" And you see Robert, "Fuck me." He said, "You can't see anything you ever." It's along those lines. It's quite telling the ref exactly you're Robert. We all know you are. Yeah, he was telling me he was dreadful. I will tell you.
David Coote. David Coote was a ref. David Coote was a ref on the day, and
which said a lot because he can't see a lot of things, as we've seen with his VAR.
It's not even against us though. I watched the game this week, and he was woeful. He was absolutely atrocious. Don't ask me who was playing, but I can remember him, and that's when you know that's a problem. When you don't know who was playing, but you remember the referee and the mistakes he was making. But yeah, it just got to this. For me, this got to this stage of the season. It was like I was starting to look forward now. How is this going to play out next season? Are we going to have a next season? Are they going to play this season out? Are we going to have a transfer window? How is this going to work? because we come out of our first lockdown. We were in the middle of the summer. We were allowed to travel a bit further. We were allowed to go to pubs and have a pizza and a pint and whatever. But we could tell that
cauliflower wings and a pint. The amount of cauliflower wings people would eat just so they could have a pint.
Right. We could all foresee what was coming as soon as the evening started to come in, and the nights, it started getting colder and people were spending more time indoors. It was going to run rampant again, and we were like, "Is this going to be the normal now? What the hell are we doing?" And we had only a few games left to go at this stage. We got a draw against Burnley. We had 3 games left to go, and it was like, you're heading into the end of July, and normally at this time of year, this is where you're talking about preseason. Preseason stuff was supposed to be happening, and you're looking forward to the next season. We were still in the 2020 season, the 1920 season, halfway through 2020. It was so crazy.
Yeah. We then go away to the Emirates, and we do take an early lead, but it was just one of those games where it didn't go for us. Because
they were so lucky.
Let's have a think about it. Van Dijk does a under-hit back pass goal. Alisson has a brain fart goal. Arsenal fans I still see Arsenal fans now going, "Oh, Jones, when we beat Liverpool, the champions, you finished 8th, lads." Do you know what I mean? It was just. They were some results we got. I think that confirmed we probably couldn't break the 100-point mark. So the most you could then get was 99, which is the second highest points total ever. So it's not horrendous, but that was a thing for a while. I'd quite like to break 100 points. Just basically just to set a record. That wasn't really going to happen, but the Arsenal game was just naff, wasn't it?
Arsenal that game were so poxed. They were so lucky. I mean, we weren't anywhere near on it. I mean, the Burnley game it was a 4-day gap between the 2 games, and you got to remember back as well the ordeal of what it was like to travel for our clubs to travel to games. It was like you were still in a bubble. It was like the only people that were in the ground were the staff of the club who were within the bubble, so like 15, 20 people in the stands, and it was like. I love Liverpool Arsenal games. I almost always enjoy them. Whether we win or lose or whatever, you're generally treated to a decent game. And this was just dross. They were in mode, and it was just awful.
But for travel, there was no planes or trains. It was like 2 coaches. You had to split everyone up. You had to go in 2 coaches. Staying over in the hotels, having been in the hotel trade. Again, that was, you only allowed key workers, and that's bring the food pre-prepared, leave outside your room. You had to, have floors, gaps between, you had to have a room, a gap, then a room, and then you turn it over so that room couldn't have been gone in for 24 hours. There was, it wasn't exactly fun. Listen, you listen to the England cricket team or the Australian cricket team talk about playing cricket in a bubble, traveling abroad. They also say that it's not fun.
It was horrible. It was a nightmare. So, the one thing I remember about that game, Trent was lucky. Trent should have had a red card.
Yes.
Saka was playing as a left wing back in this game, and Trent caught him knee high. It was accidental. It was one of those ones where the ball was there to be won. Saka got there first, but Trent come in like that, right on his knee. In this, even though it's only a couple of years ago, it's only 3-4 years ago. It would have been a red card, 100% red card, no doubt in my mind whatsoever. But a few games left to go in the season. The season was virtually over. He got away with it, But they were still trying to blood Saka into the squad at the time, and they were using him as a left back, left wing back. But the other young player that they had, Maitland-Niles, started for him. David Luiz was still there. Emi Martinez was in goal, but Reece Nelson started for him as well.
Isn't it still mad they sold him?
Apparently, I was listening when I was watching it back today. I was listening to the commentary, and they were talking about him while he was at Arsenal. Apparently, he'd had at his previous clubs, he'd had weight problems. He was always carrying a bit of timber. So it was always assumed that it was that he wasn't training properly. And if you're a big lad and you're a goalkeeper and it looks like, you're struggling to get down either side, and it was never that. He just looked like he was carrying a bit of timber all the time, but he was so calm on the ball even then. His distribution was really good. It's crazy they couldn't get him into the right mindset to be able to perform for Arsenal. There had to be something in it, because he's easily the best keeper they've had since Peter Cech. But they just never could get a tune out of him.
He's better than Soon got now.
And easily.
Miles better than Soon got now. You'd fear Arsenal more if they had him in goal, because you'd be like, oh, fucking hell. Don't fancy dealing with that.
Yeah, he's a good keeper. And I think Thor made a point there. It was worse than that when you think it was people at the start, people elevating Arteta. Yeah, Arteta was still trying to figure out this squad. And I think this game, even though they were pants, but it gave them, because they were going through a really rough patch. And this was, I think, the start of the turnaround for Arsenal as a club, where they started to trust the young players more. I think he'd made up his mind on a lot of the players that started there, and he could see who he was going to bin off and who he was going to get out the door. It was just a case of how they were going to do it. But yeah, I think a lot of Arsenal's upsurge in how they've turned things around in the last few years started with this game. I think this victory for them was really important. If they look back at it and what Arteta has done at the club, there were a lot of people calling for his head, even that, back then. And this gave him a lot of breathing room.
It did. Scouser Pete doesn't like my comments saying about the travel or that's I get the point he's making, which is it was rubbish for us staying in a bubble in our own house. Doing a 5-star hotel must have been torturous. But it's still traveling. It's still traveling under those conditions. Same as frontline workers, doing that. And also, if you're doing all the bubble thing and you're traveling about, you probably are more likely to catch it, and you've got to take it over to your family, which is also a fear of people, which was when they went out, the house was, I don't want to bring it home with me, because you never know. So it's not fun.
Yeah.
So, it's not like, oh, poor footballers, but it's not a foot.
It wasn't just football, because I remember there was an Ashes series at the time, wasn't there?
Yeah,
and
that was rubbish as well.
It was an Ashes series with no crowd, and
in
Australia were absolute pants. And it's something that you don't normally associate with an Australian side. And when you listen back to interviews when players talk about it, it was everything that they'd known about what they've done in their professional career as sportsmen went out the window. And it was literally, they were like everyone else, really. You woke up in the morning, you went and done what you had to do, you come home, you didn't leave the house, and then you woke up and you did it again, and you did it again, you did it again. It was completely alien to all of them, and it's completely alien to footballers as well. The fact that you don't go to training and mix with everyone who you're training with. I think the fact that stood to us really well, and I think how we managed to get through COVID with the results that we ended up getting, was the fact that we didn't have many changes to the squad from the previous year. So everyone was really comfortable within the squad, knew their roles within the squad, and were comfortable with each other. You could tell by the stuff that the club was releasing at the time, the videos and stuff, the Skype chats and all that stuff, the laugh that they were having with each other. It was... there
was always a big push on...
It helped that they all knew each other, really.
There was always a big push on Taki. I was noticing those things. Taki, how are you? Because obviously he was the newest one. Bless him. Literally, you meet your teammates and then right, mate, go stay in your house for three months. Oh, great. Well, welcome to Liverpool. Now, the last home game we had was at home to Chelsea. Now in England, I don't know what it's like in Ireland. You were actually allowed to start to visit houses again. You're allowed so many in your house. So. It was, and we had to stay over as well. So it was me, my dad, and my brother watched this in my dad's house, and I took my daughter, who the reason I bought it for her so for her to see the trophy lift, because I was just a bit like, listen, last time Liverpool won last time Liverpool won the league, I was like 7, and I can't remember any of it. So for me, it was like, right, this is like the first proper Premier League for me. So she may as well see it as well, because don't want to count your chickens. You don't know when you're going to see one again. So, but it was a mad game. This absolutely mad in a good way. It
was a crazy game.
It was just goals galore. Liverpool were really good. Chelsea, to be fair, played really well. You know, they were determined to be the spoilers. You know, Pulisic was excellent, and we had the infamous Frank Lampard moment, which we will discuss, because the video about that was hilarious when he made a prat of himself and got put in his place. But the opening goal, Naby Keita, you know, when he gets them right, he does score spectacular goals.
Yeah, it was a proper hit, wasn't it? It was the one thing I remember about this game more than anything was that first goal. And
it's a cracker, isn't it?
It was a brilliant goal. It was just like one of those ones, like we seen it last night with Dominic Szoboszlai's goal. When he hit it, it stayed hit. You know, when Naby hit that, keeper had no chance. You know, I think who's in goal for them? Arizabal Berlaga. And if memory serves me, mate, one of the comments I saw on the video was he couldn't save a Word document. You know, it was just everything that was on target. He just was spilling. He was giving up chances. He was just like a calamity every which way you look at it. But yeah, that first goal set the tone, and the players knew the trophy lift was coming. Chelsea knew that it was, you know, you're going to be in the stadium when this happens, and you're right. They wanted to be the ones to spoil the result. You know, didn't matter what was happening after. The fireworks were going off around the ground. You know, around people's gardens and what have you.
The massive stage on the Kop, and it was massive, that stage as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big worry before the game for me was we had no Henderson, remember, because he'd done his knee. And the quick question was, that's what his knee said, would he be able to do his Henderson shuffle? That was always the big question, which, you know, we found out later. It was all right. But yeah, Henderson, because obviously Henderson had played the Arsenal game and he didn't play the rest of the season because he picked up an injury. So 23 minutes.
Yeah, Virgil was captain on the night.
Yeah, Liverpool have a free kick. And listen, the free kick's brilliant. You know, Trent, it was similar to his, it's probably better than his Palace one, just bangs it top corner. You're thinking, great. But Sky picked this up, and somebody filmed this and picked this up. There was a little bit of a to-do on the sidelines between Frank Lampard and Pep. It looked like it was Pep Linders. And back into, I think, Lampard along the lines of, in between swearing, going, giving it the big time now. You've only won one league title, and now you're giving it the big one. But there's a brilliant angle. He does that. I think Pep Linders goes to that, and Klopp just sticks his hand out as if to say, stop. Linders turns off it, and the whistle goes, and he puts it top. Trent puts it top corner. You see Lampard's head drop. You just see Achterberg and Linders just go do an over the top celebration. I was just like, oh mate, it's just what I was thinking. Like you've stood up, Frank Lampard doing his big man
all about that.
Doing his big man routine, and you go, you think you're big time, don't you? Because you won a league title. Oh, it's 2-0. It's just like
I forgot all about that.
It was brilliant. I still Google that on YouTube every now and again just to make myself laugh. It's great.
I genuinely had forgotten all about that, and when you said it, it was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember it.
That game,
and it was a belting free kick, and he'd done a couple of them during pre-season, during this period, didn't he? When there was no fans in the ground.
Yeah, Palace was his first one, wasn't it? Which is a peach as well.
Yeah, it was. And whether it's the fact that there's no one there, and there was like, it's literally the same as training. It's exactly the same as training, and you saw it with a few players, not just for us, but for other clubs as well. Some of the goals that were scored during lockdown were unreal. Some of the football that was played to work opposition, work opposition out. Some of the patterns of play were brilliant, but a lot of that is either down to no pressure from the fans, and people can hear each other. They can read what they're trying to do, and they can hear the instructions of what the manager or the players around them want. And that for me, like, was a real insight into how players get through games because during a normal game you don't hear nothing. You barely hear. If you hear something in the crowd now, like in a game now, if you manage to hear Jurgen Klopp roaring and shouting at something, you're like, shit, the atmosphere in the ground is absolutely pants, isn't it? But back then it was like you could hear everything at the drop of a hat, and it was great. It was really enjoyed it. You know, that part of it I enjoyed because it was just new. I'd never heard that before. You know, you hear it in the under 23s and the under 18 games, but you never hear it with senior games. And Frank makes a point, or Dan makes a point there. Frank's ego took a bit of a reality check at that moment.
Unfortunately, he's still around. He's still around, and he's like Teflon. Just doesn't understand it, does he? So we go to halftime 2-1. You know, Olivier Giroud does what he always does: score against Liverpool. It was good. It
was 3-1. Gini Wijnaldum. Gini Wijnaldum made it 3 on 43 minutes.
Of course he did. Forgot about that one. I thought it was 2-1 then. It took bounced out of the box. We were appealing for a handball, weren't we? And then he just cracked it in. He didn't look very happy about his goal, by the way. He just looked fuming. He's just like, yeah, fine, scored. Can we go now? He just didn't seem.
Have you seen that interview with Virgil when he's talking about the striker he hates playing the most? And he name checked it as Olivier Giroud. Said no matter what happens, no matter what the game, no matter who he's playing for, whether it's for Chelsea, whether it was for Arsenal, or whether it's for France when he's played for Holland, Giroud always manages to get on a touch on something when no one else should. He's just got wood. I don't know if it's not the wood over Virgil, but Virgil said that he's the striker that gives him the most trouble because technically he can do everything that a normal number 9 can do. Physically, he can match it with anyone. And intelligence, he just knows how to play the position perfectly for a player of his size. He's just a nightmare.
I think it's also because he's never been blessed with pace.
No, exactly. Teddy Sheringham type player.
Teddy Sheringham was the same. Said like, you know, when you use the pace, what you can do. And I think someone like a Sheringham was like, I never really had the pace in the first place, which is why I had to develop other parts of my game. So it was all about keeping fit with him. But look, I mean, Giroud's still playing now.
Yeah, he's still playing at Milan now. But yeah, it was
still scoring as well.
It was a scramble goal as well. And at the end of the day, it went in 3-1, but it was comfortable, wasn't it? It just felt like we were comfortable going in at halftime. It was like I was really relaxed about the whole thing.
Yeah. But anyway, what we can say, Kev, obviously, we've already talked about Naby Keita's goal. We can also talk about another number 8, Dominic Szoboszlai, because in the description below is a link to Football Prizes, who have currently got an offer at the moment, which is tickets are on sale, $3.95. There's 299 tickets available for a chance to win a signed, framed Dominic Szoboszlai shirt. So if you like your number 8s and you like Liverpool players, try that. Details in the description below, and off we go. There you go. Not a bad segue that, is it? Not quite as good as Matt.
No, it's not. But I tell you, someone was, I think it was Brian O'Sullivan was on about something that he's won stuff on there before. It's literally the competition is locked at 299 tickets. So one of the 299 that are sold will win this. It's a signed and framed Szoboszlai shirt. Yeah, at the end of the day, for the sake of $3.95, give it a go. You never know.
Yeah.
But someone will win it. I'd love it to be someone who's a member to win it. That would be the
the competition ends on 7:30 p.m. Boxing Day, or Stevie's Day, as you guys call it. So, a few more days to go there, but listen, give it a go if you want a chance to win a Domo shirt. So, second half, and it's a bit more mental, isn't it? So, the big.
I think Lampard had got into him at halftime. I think Lampard got into him and said, "We don't want to be embarrassed there. It's bad enough they're going to be having their trophy lift and what have you. We don't want to be embarrassed."
But unfortunately for Lampard, though, 55 minutes in, Bobby finally breaks his goal-scoring duck at home. It finally happens. Cross comes in. It's a really good header, and you can tell by his celebration it was finally that monkey's off my back. I mean, listen. His only goal he scored at home. It's probably the least significant. But what Bobby did that year away from home, goals-wise, was unreal. A lot of his away goals are openers, equalisers, and winners. They're not like the 4 for the 4-0. They're the key, lots of key goals. So it was good. It was good for him. Bobby's
that
definitely
was a brilliant goal.
But Bobby's definitely someone, though, he does need a crowd. He's just not the same player without. Some players just feed off it, don't they?
They do, but that ball was Trent was right on the right wing, and he just the cross was the perfect cross, and Bobby just got his head on it, and he powered it. He powered that header, his head through the ball. That was just, to me, that was like a perfect traditional right winger cross to number 9 to goal. If you were to pick a goal out from the 80s, that's how goals were scored. It was a brilliant header, and delighted for it. The one thing I loved about Bobby with his goal celebrations is the facial expressions. It was like, just his laughs, his like facial expressions, everything about him. But yeah, that goal was a brilliant goal. And you're thinking it's 4-1, you can relax now.
And then it became the Pulisic show, because Pulisic just kicked into gear and he gave Liverpool a torrid time. He's heavily involved in Abraham's goal. Gets a lovely goal himself, and it goes to 4-3. We're all going, "Oh, hang on! This is kind of not the script." And it felt more like it was going to be a 4-4 than a
They were just coming, weren't they?
Yeah, but then the final goal, Fabinho gets it sort of left back his position, brings it forward. Robson does an underlap for the Fabinho pass down the wing to get the ball to the burst pass. Aspilicueta puts a cross in, it evades Curtis Jones, and Chamberlain's there, and he just rifles it in, and he enjoyed that goal, Chamberlain. Yeah. And to be honest, I think Chamberlain is a little bit of a forgotten man in this season, because on the quiet, he plays more games than you realise, and he chipped in with a fair few goals here. I mean, Chamberlain in the end had 30 appearances in the league for us, which it's not bad for a guy who we always think he's
that's good.
Injured a lot, and goal-wise, he only had the 4 goals. He had 8 overall, but he's the 4-5 goal scorer that season. Yeah. So, but what was good about Chamberlain was because his body he could trust his body a bit more that year. He was playing right side of midfield, left wing, right wing, and he was doing that.
He was flexible, wasn't he? He was like the forward players, James Milner at the back. Where James Milner could come on, tuck up in midfield, and shut again down. He could play right back, left back. He'd do a job for you anywhere from halfway line back.
If we look at this season, Harvey Elliott's doing a bit of that at the moment.
Yeah.
He's coming on as a sub more than a starter, but he's coming on. He's playing right side of midfield, or he play right, or he can play right wing. He kind of covers. He kind of just boxes 2 areas off here, and he kind of works effectively in either area. And that's sometimes what you need, really, isn't it? So. Those sort of players, they're not the most flashy, but they're pretty crucial. So then there was a trophy left. So where did you, obviously, were you allowed out?
No, I was at home.
Or were you guys, because I seem to remember when me and Gav used to talk, whenever something was lifted in England, it tends to happen in Ireland about 3 weeks later because you guys have gone into lockdown. It was a bit more strict. Ireland,
it was a lot more strict, but I was living in a rural area, so it was like there was no pubs open as such, and the ones that were open, they just weren't. Yeah, you'd rather not. And at the time, my mum was still pretty ill, so it was like we were all really careful about being around other people, just in case. We used to go and see mum, drop her shopping up and what have you. And drop her meds up, make sure she was okay, and visit when we could. But we were always really careful around being around other people because of her. So that night I was at home. I'd a few cans, just watching it, and I was really relaxed with it because I was saying to you before we started. It's not like the Champions League night. The Champions League night is jeopardy on the night. It could go either way. And when you win it, it's absolute elation because it's on the day. We knew this was coming for months, really. This is towards the end of July. In our heart of hearts, we knew this title was over in January. So we had a 7-month build-up to this. And I wouldn't say it was an anticlimax. But it was like, yeah, we've won it. We know we've won it. It's like
I think he feels.
I feel cheated. I feel cheated out of it.
Yeah,
I do.
listen,
Genuinely do.
I said this to Gav on the show last week was, and this is my problem. So I've got to go. I said I'm still bitter about it. I can't deny it. You know, you wait 30 years to see yourself win a league title, and then you can't go out and celebrate it. I was looking forward to going. Liverpool's going to be with you guys. We're just going to enjoy it. Because what you should do when you win a league title, and you're like, never really got to. The nice thing about when I watched Liverpool finally lift that trophy was sat there, a few cans, with me dad, with me brother, who I've been games with, and my little girl. My little girl got to see Liverpool lift a trophy, and she's talked about that still now. She remembers seeing that. So it's kind of a thing like, well, at least we've all seen it. And it's I think we've all experienced it, not the way we would have wanted. But you know what? Yeah. It was also nice to get that monkey back. What I did like was, we found out we've got some, I don't think he's there, somebody in the medical staff, which I remember with his rounded John Lennon's sunglasses in the middle of every picture. He was proper doing the Hosami. And everyone's like, who's that? I think he's one of the, he was like one of the assistant coach of physios. He's left the club now, but you look at, I don't know who this fella is, but he's in every picture. He must be good.
It was. The club did everything they could to make sure that, and I think I'll give credit to Sky. I'll give credit to Sky. Sky made sure that stage setup was televised in a way that you wouldn't think that it was in an empty stadium.
No,
they did their very best to try to make it as genuine as possible. But at the end of the day, if there was a camera from the back of Jordan Henderson's head, he was lifting up a trophy in front of 30 people in the Sky camera crew.
Because
that is just...
Yeah, because obviously no families there. It's just, obviously Kenny was there to hand over the medals and all that. But I quite liked, I did this a few times, they were making sure the likes of the fringe players were getting a chance for the trophy. Minamino was getting pushed front and centre. They made a big deal of it. I remember the Carragher interview with Manny. And he goes, Manny, obviously you can see the distance because obviously they had to for protocol purposes. And he's like, I love you, don't you? And he just goes, yes, I know. Thank you. Thank you very much. See you later. He's walked away. It's just like, it's quite he's just such a humble guy. But for Manny, I thought that's emotional to get to see Manny being an arrogant person in a funny way. But listen, it was great, watching all the goals, the videos, ex-players, finally getting the monkey off the back. But there was still a part of us going, can you imagine that was a full Anfield and we did that? How amazing.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going over for the last game of the season this year. And I'm praying to God.
I can't see me getting a ticket for that one.
No, I can't either. But
unless you can sort me out.
I can't see any of us getting tickets, but I don't think it matters. I think the whole point is we're all going to be there. We're all going to meet up and we're all going to go out for a drink or whatever. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. I just hope that at the end of it, we all have something to celebrate.
Or we're celebrating a good season and we're going to something in a week's time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. But we still weren't finished with this season. This season we still had one to go.
This did feel like after the Lord Mayor show. I can't deny it. Yeah. We went 1-0 down after a minute, and I generally was like, I just don't care.
It was such a mishmash of a team as well. I'm looking at the lineup here for it. Alisson and goal. We had Virgil and Joe Gomez, Andy Robertson, Nico Williams, Gini, Milner, Naby in midfield, and Ox, Taki, and Divock up front. And at the time, Divock had blonde hair.
Oh, he looked like I like Wesley Snipes when he was in Have you ever seen Demolition Man? He looked like the Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
It's just like, listen, mate, you do you. But this was probably like we'll make sure everyone gets their
medals.
Minutes. I think the only one who didn't get enough was Elliot. I think he made squad appearances, but I don't think he got enough actual appearances to get a medal. But I don't think he cares. So I think he quite likes just to be involved. I know Jones and Nico.
At that age,
I think Jones and Nico got enough, which is the main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the actual equalizer is brilliant. Chamberlain, ball comes in, Chamberlain again, cross comes in, and Virgil just heads it. he proper power heads it back to where it came from, and it sort of loops in. It's a really good header.
If anyone has seen the game tonight, the Brighton and Palace game, it's very reminiscent of the Brighton equaliser that they got tonight. It was a looping header back from, like Danny Welbeck's header tonight. It was a looping header back over the keeper.
The difference was, though, it's off Virgil's forehead. And Danny Welbeck looked more surprised than anyone that went in. Unfortunately, you can't hide someone's expression like, "Oh wow, that went in." Wasn't supposed to. That's not what I meant. Get in. You can just tell us what those ones were. Oh, that's cool. Better than I thought.
That Virgil goal was just it was just a peach. It was just a peach of a header. And got it back to 1-1, 38 minutes gone. Get a half time. No changes at half time. But come out in the second half. Divock makes it 2. And
it's a cracker.
This one, it's a brilliant goal. It's very Sadio Mane. Yes. Sadio cutting back onto his right foot, whipping it around a defender to the far post. That was exactly what this was. It was like shifted out of his feet. It was a good way out from the edge of the box as well. It wasn't right on the 18-yard line. He was probably 25 yards out and curled it. Lovely goal. 59 minutes, 2-1.
And then 5 minutes later, Liverpool went, right, let's stop messing about. Bobby on for Minamino, Salah on for Origi, Manny on for Chamberlain. And I'm sure Newcastle are going, oh, fuck off. This is just taking the piss.
Yeah.
And
well, I think they wanted to make sure. I think at this stage, the 99 points was they just wanted to go one better than it would have been. It was a record points total for the club.
Yes,
so they wanted to get that one done. Yeah, they wanted to get that one. Fine, you're not going to break 100 points, but 99 points in a 38-game season is absolutely off the ball. It's unreal, and all done without an FA charge to be seen.
I know. And then Manny gets a goal, 89 minutes. Basically, it was Origi's goal, but about 5 yards further in. That's basically. Yeah. He just did the same thing.
Yeah. Dubravka didn't have a chance with it, to be fair.
It's great if you watch it back. Salah's fuming as well. He's
he is,
for a tap, and he's like, it's one of that. Oh, it's got it. Fair enough.
Was Mo going for top scorer at this time? Because if you watch the highlights of the last few games, he was just taking shots.
I think Mo finished in 19. I think Mo finished in 19. I do think someone beat him to it. The ironic thing for Mo is this is his lowest goal scoring season in the league for Liverpool, and win the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's ironic, isn't it? Because all the other years he scored much more than this. And
when you think about it as well, what you were saying there, Oxlade-Chamberlain was our 4th highest goal scorer for the season with only 8 goals. It goes to show how much we were totally dependent on the forwards.
Yeah, because it was Mo finished this season on 23, Manny on 22, Bobby on 12. Bobby's a fair way behind, and then it's Ox on 8, Origi on 6, Wijnaldum on 6, own goals on 5. Own goals is it's quite high up for us. I mean, just 3s and 4s and 2s, but own goals is actually quite good for us, really. So, listen, season over. Let's give you a bit of a statistics of where we're up to. We finished season 99 points, goal difference of plus 52. At home, we won 18, drew 1, only conceded 16 goals at home all season. Away from home, won 14, drew 2, only lost 3 all season. And then City finished second on 81. I mean, 81 is not a shit points total.
No, it's not.
That's what I mean. It's just...
But City fell apart away from home. 7 losses away from home. 9 losses in total. City actually scored more goals than us in the season.
Yeah.
And they conceded 3 less goals than us at home and 5 more goals than us away from home. Their goal difference that season was plus 67.
Which is ridiculous.
Ours was plus 52.
But this shows the gap because we're on 99, City are on 81.
81.
Then it's Man United and Chelsea on 66. 33 points ahead. This is like what used to happen to Liverpool in the 90s. We go, United won the league, they're about 40 points ahead of Liverpool. Not even in the conversation.
It's mental. And to be fair, when we were talking about earlier on, we were talking about Aston Villa at the bottom end of the table. Aston Villa stayed up that season by a point on 35. Bournemouth went down with Watford and Norwich on 34, and Norwich were already gone on 21. So even going into the last day of the season, it was up in the air as to what would happen with Villa, Bournemouth, and Watford. And looking up the table, the Ever in 12th, Burnley in 10th. So good finish. Sheffield United, I think, was their first year back in the league. They were on 54 points, finished 9th, only 2 points behind Arsenal on 56 points. It goes to show how far Arsenal have come in the last few years. Wolves on 59, then you're up to Spurs, Leicester were in the European spots. I think Wolves got into Europe as well that year. I think Arsenal got in. Did Arsenal get into Europe for winning? Did they win the FA Cup that year?
Oh, they might have done. So it wasn't for the league, was it? So it wasn't the league position.
Certainly wasn't for the league, no. But yeah, that season, when you look at the
end results, they won the FA Cup, didn't they? Didn't they beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final?
Yeah, 99, 81, did 66 in third. That's great. We won't get that this season. This season, I think it will be tight all the way.
Yeah, I mean, in total, Kev, unless you've got it up front here, only 3 players actually played all 38 games for us. Have you got the list in front of you?
I'll get it for you now.
No, I know who they are. I'm saying, do you know who they are without cheating?
Oh, I'm cheating 100%.
Bobby, Virgil, and Trent played all 38 games in the league. Robbo got 36. So, that was it. But, 52. Bobby made the most appearances, 52 in all comps, which was just ridiculous. But look, there's some players here, who are making big appearance numbers that probably haven't done it since. Like Joe Gomez did 43 appearances that year.
You wonder how much those 2 years, the 18, 19, 19, 20, how much that took out of those players. Gini Wijnaldum is the one that sticks out like sore thumb. 47 appearances that season. He was Mr. Consistent. 37 in the league, 9 in Europe. It was, and I don't think he's ever got close to that again. I think this season shortened a few careers for sure. No doubt in my mind.
And that's where you can understand sometimes the criticism of maybe if we'd had a couple of more senior bods, or young upcoming players in that summer ready to take over, maybe that would have lightened the load. But I'm also of the opinion one summer off's not the end of the world as long as the others are a bit more okay. And I think it's been a bit of a in-between thing. But I mean, just to put it into context, I mean, that season's the most games Joe Gomez has ever played for Liverpool, which is 43, 28 in the league. So he's currently now.
Fabinho played 28 in the league as well. Ashley said there Fabinho too. Yeah, I think Fabinho is more the 2 seasons combined. When you throw in what he was, because he was a regular for Brazil at the time as well. When you throw in all of those games, I think the drop off the next year was monumental for someone like him because of the role he had in the midfield 3. That anchor role, at the way we were playing, was so physically demanding that it definitely hurt him. It hurt Henderson as well. Henderson always got to the end of a season, and he was goosed. And his injuries at the time were starting to get. They were the same kind of injuries as he was getting when he was in his mid-20s, but he was taking a lot longer to recover from them. His body was starting to break down.
Yeah. I mean, just put the Gomez thing in context. If he gets 10 more appearances this year, that's his second most ever appearances for Liverpool in a season.
Yeah.
This is the only season he's done 43. I'm not sure he'll do 43, but he's on 22 already. And I think we're seeing with someone like a Joe Gomez, now he's finally getting his groove back in terms of trusting his body. He's becoming a big asset again. And,
it's weird when you look at this. Adrian made 18 appearances that season, 11 in the league. Adam Lallana, 15. Naby, 18. Naby made 27 appearances that season, 18 in the league.
Because a lot of it was funny in terms of remember he was out of contract, so all players had their contracts if they wanted to extend it to the end of the COVID bit. So they had a contract. Some players did, and I remember there was what's his name? There's somebody at Bournemouth, and both went down, and he refused. He said, "No, my contract's ended." And he said, "Do you want to come back and play the last 5-6 games?" And he said, "I'm not doing it." He said, "Because if I get injured, I'm knackered."
Was that the guy who ended up going to Newcastle on a free?
Richie. No, not Richie. I think it was someone who went to Newcastle, but he had that. Whereas we kept Lallana on. I didn't play him.
No.
He just sat on the bench. He just sat on the bench, and it's almost like it was an agreement of like,
well, you have to.
But otherwise, just stay fit because otherwise you're not going to get a club because you'll be injured. Because there's a couple of players where that's where it was a bit of a challenge for some players going like, yeah, if I get injured, I'm knackered here because my contract's up. And that's where there's some of the weird oddities you had to think about.
That's
things like that. Fraser, that's it. Fraser,
yeah,
it's always right. Fraser,
and he ended up with Eddie Howe taking the Newcastle job on, and he was at Newcastle.
I don't think
that was a big thing at the start. When Eddie Howe took over at Newcastle, is he gonna bin him off or whatever? Yeah.
I don't think the Geordies liked him anyway. So they were quite glad to see it. They were quite glad to see the back thing. Somebody believed his own hype, and there wasn't much hype to go with, to be honest.
No, but, there wasn't. It was one of those. He's one of those players that when he played for Scotland, he was really good. Yeah, he was really threatening it. But I've always said it. International football is a step below top level club football. You see players who play really well at international level, but when you see them in the last 8 of the Champions League, they get found out. There's levels to this. And it was mental. But in that season as well, Trent had 15 assists, Salah had 13, Bobby had 13, Robbo 12, Sadio 10. The workload was spread around the whole squad, really.
Really?
And I don't think we were. I look at it in total, right? And you look at the. Let's just quickly get the league table back up. How many goals did we score in total? 50, 30s, 80. We scored 85 goals in the league. And I think we've scored more under Klopp, but I don't think I've ever seen a Liverpool team be as consistent as they were this season. And that was right from the start. It was relentless.
We're just in that mode where as soon as we went 1-0 up, you went, done. I always felt quite relaxed then. You didn't feel the jeopardy. But you always felt in that season, we'll still get a goal back. We'll still get a goal. Which is why the Watford result probably was the one that, before we won the league, was a bit of because we never get the goal in that game. It was probably the only game you looked at and went, Jesus wept, what's going on here? Because every other game you're going, I just fancy us to do something. Top 3 games, Kev, come to mind for that season, if you can remember any of them.
The Leicester game. Well,
that's
the Leicester game the Leicester game stands out a country mile because of the mantra going into it. It was, can they keep going the way they've been going, given the intent, the fact that the media pressure was really, really high. We'd gone away, won the Club World Cup. Can they come back to a cold winter away at Leicester, who were in really good form?
They were second.
They were playing really well at the time as well, but they were playing good football as well. And we absolutely 100% demolished that Leicester side. It was night and day was the difference between the two.
The other two that come to mind for me is they were back to back. The 2-1 away at Villa, backed up by the 3-1 win at home to City. Those 2 games felt very season defining. Although you felt early in the season, you kind of felt like they're the big ones there. Especially that Villa one, because it was when the rare time Liverpool and City are both playing at 3 o'clock, not on the telly. And City had just gone 2-1 up as we were 1-0 down. So it was that was a big pressure moment I always felt.
Yeah, I think beating Manchester United at home 2-0. Look, Manchester United we're still Manchester United. It was and it was at the time as well. Klopp had always paid them too much respect. Klopp treated them as though they were Ferguson's United, and that they were going to come and really play us off the park. They were nowhere near our level, and this was one of the rare times when we just and that's when, like, I mean, you're talking there 19th of January, it was done. You know, if there was any doubt left, that was it.
I was WhatsApping you after the Leicester win, going, "That's it." So after City lost to Wolves, I messaged you, said, "That's it, league's done. Don't care what you say now."
I mean, for personal reasons, first game of the season, the 4-1 at Norwich. I was in England at the time, and it was my daughter's wedding day, and we were in the reception on the evening because it was a night game, and I think it was a Friday night game.
Yeah, Friday night.
Yeah, it was a Friday night game, and every time I went out for a pint at the bar, we'd scored. Go back come back.
Have you still got? If you've still got the skill, can you do it the weekend? That'd be quite handy.
But it was that one to me, for personal reasons, that was a really big one. That one's a really big one.
Yeah,
but
that's the only one for me from a personal point of view. It actually isn't a league game, and Kev knows where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
it was the 5-5 in the League Cup. It's the most bizarre, mad game I've ever been to. But it was my daughter's first game of watching Liverpool, and she still talks about it now.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that game was great because where I was sat, there was loads of young kids there with families, and you could tell loads of dads are going, "Oh, yeah, it's me son's or my daughter's first game." Why? Because me mates are seeing it, he couldn't be asked this game. And you found out later, speaking to, I was supposed to people at Anfield, they said, "Yeah, there's loads who just said, can't be asked for this game." So they give it to loads of kids got their first game.
Yeah,
loads of seats. But loads of girls are going like, "It's the worst game I've ever given away. 5-5 and you win on penalties. It's ridiculous." It was an unreal game. But that kind of supersedes that.
I'm just looking back at it here, right? I'm looking at Arsenal's lineup for that game. We'll go in a minute. But Arsenal's lineup for that game: Emi Martinez in goal, Hector Bellerin, Mustafi, Rob Holding, Konchesky, Maitland-Niles, Lucas Torreira, Joe Willock, Saka, Mesut Ozil, and Mesut Ozil was outstanding in this game. Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, the subs they brought on
paper,
the subs they brought on paper made them stronger, whereas the subs Liverpool brought on were more inexperienced. Like Curtis Jones came on because actually he was better than the three experienced lads that
You know, and Pedro Chiravella come on.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And our 11, I mean, it was a decent 11 looking back at it. Kelleher and goal, Joe Gomez, Sepp van der Berg, Nico Williams, James Milner, Naby Keita, Ox, Lallana, Harvey, Ryan Brewster, Divock Origi. And it's like, it was just one of those games. It's the reason why I love the League Cup, because you're always liable to get a game where it's an absolute madness and it's over in 90 minutes.
I mean, we're doing this just the 5-1 to go to the semi-finals. That was that game was mad for different reasons, because that always and me were all like, "That's gonna be a tight game. This it's a decent West Ham side. This," and we're going like, "Yeah, it's 5-1. Where's that come from?" But listen, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. You know, that's the end of this one for the members. So listen, thanks for being members. Obviously, this is first show after being given a membership from Nigel, which is very nice. So I enjoy doing these sort of shows. I quite enjoy reminiscing about old seasons and talk about it. So if you like this sort of thing, you're all members. You've all got access to the Telegram group. Ping it if you'd like something like this again. If you've got a season in mind, which we think we can do. We want to do the 01 treble season. Want to talk the 05 season. We've done this in the past, but I'm happy to do it again. Or if there's something different you fancy that we haven't done yet, let us know. We're always happy to run the ideas.
If you want to do something like maybe, if you want to do maybe profile players, profile managers.
Yeah.
We've had 15 managers at the club, but probably 5 in our life.
Are we still the only ones? Are we still the only ones that have had the joint managers? That was a mad 18 game. That Roy Evans and Houllier for 8. Roy Evans and Houllier.
Middlesbrough had joint managers. They just didn't tell anyone.
yeah. One of them didn't know. One of them didn't know it. So, Super Dizzle saying, I don't have access to the Telegram group.
Okay.
Go on,
what you need to do, if you download the Telegram app yourself, all right? If you send a DM to the Talkin Kop Twitter page with your Telegram details, your Telegram name, I think they can send you an invite to the group from there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nigel, Bob Paisley, yep, absolutely 100%. But yeah, look, anything you guys want to talk about, I know it's a Liverpool channel, it's Liverpool members. If you guys want to talk about anything outside of Liverpool, and we can do it, we'll do it. This is literally whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll do.
You're the members, so if you've got ideas, things you want to hear, we'll see what we can do. Well, plus it's always good to get fresh ideas as well. So
yeah.
But listen, until then, guys, we will let you go. We are back. Well, I am back Saturday with Matt. Kev, you're skiving off because apparently.
Yeah, I'm not on. No, I'm not on. So this is my last show. So have a happy Christmas, everyone. And I'll be definitely around in the new year, but I'll be in the chat anyway. I'm always in the Telegram lurking around. But yeah, have a good one. Enjoy yourselves. Drink loads. And hope if your kids, spoil them rotten. If you have your missus, spoiler rotten, because you're going to want to watch a lot of football over Christmas.
It's safer.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. I got to test that, as Kev knows. I got to test that. So listen. So tomorrow morning we should be a member show with Gav at 10:00, and then Saturday night it will be me, Matt. I think it's Chris Golden.
Yeah,
we'll do the post match where hopefully we're going to be talking about Liverpool beating Arsenal and Liverpool being top of the league. But listen, it's been great reminiscing. Speak very, very soon.